Here's a simple challenge for you. For the next 2 seconds, do not think about a pink elephant in your mind. Okay, how did it go? If you're like most people, you probably started to think about pink elephant even before I finished that sentence. That's human. That's also the exact same mechanism that's at work when you're laying in bed at night trying to tell yourself to stop thinking about what's going to happen tomorrow, stop ruminating on what happened today, just go to sleep. Most likely, it doesn't work well. Sometimes they even make the voice in our mind louder. So today, instead of forcing the worry away, we are going to talk about some unorthodox but effective way to stop worrying. These are the things I personally reach for after meditation, deep breathing, distractions have failed me. So let's get started. There's actually a name for what happened with the pink elephant in your mind. It's actually called pink elephant paradox, or in a more formal way, it's called an ironic process theory. What it means is when we're trying to suppress a thought, suppress a feeling by telling ourselves not to think about it, that process just reminds our brain that we need to think about it harder. We need to constantly check in with ourselves. Did I think about it? Did I not think about it? That's why it's called a paradox. So let's start somewhere more honest. Worry is a normal part of human life. Worry is actually your brain's way of trying to control what is going to happen in the future. Control the not controllable, control the unknown. The brain thinks if we think about it in advance, then it won't be that bad. In fact, we do know that unknown tends to raise the anxiety higher than knowing something bad is for sure going to happen. That's how scary unknown is. That's why we need to worry so we can plan it. Some people are really good at pushing worry away. They use drug, alcohol, sex, intense exercise to stop them without thinking about worry. It's like you temporarily created a buffer between you and worry. And as soon as the effect of drug or sex or exercise diminishes, the worry is gonna come back to you. So we need to learn how to deal with worry thoughts. Before you try to calm your worry, ask yourself, what kind of worry is this? There are two types of worry. One is called constructive worry, one is called destructive worry. Constructive worry is basically your brain is raising awareness around a problem that you haven't solved, which means if you look into it, if you start to take action, then the worry is going to go away. So ask yourself, this worry I have in my mind, is there anything I can do about it to make it better? A lot of times there are, so start doing what you need to do as soon as possible. And that is the best remedy for constructive worry. However, most of us have destructive worry. There are things that we know we have no control over. We know that we cannot possibly predict the future. And we know it's useless to worry, but we still worry. I understand we all have that experience. And the technique I'm going to talk about next targets exactly at these destructive worry. So here's something that most people miss. A racing mind at night is usually because our nervous system hasn't feel safe and settled yet. You can't be calm in your mind if your body is still on high alert. So we start with relaxing the physical body. And here are some unorthodox ones I've tried and have helped me. They work because they don't argue with the worry. Instead, they create an environment where calmness will naturally settle in. The first one is stretching. Especially for people who exercise at night, you feel so tense and excited because your brain just going through this intense exercise 3 to 4 hours before the bedtime. Of course, you're going to have a difficult time falling asleep. It's a very common phenomenon for people to not be able to fall asleep after running marathon, after intense workout. The thing we need to do is very simple. Because the muscle is tense, it's still on high alert. So we stretch it. There are Yin Yoga videos that you can look up on YouTube, and personally they always help me. There's so many wonderful free resources. Yin Yoga basically long stretch that doesn't just release the muscle, but also release the fascia. And a lot of these guidance, they have very gentle female voice, some of them playing music in the background. That's very calming for your nervous system. If you feel like your body is already relaxed, but your mind is still racing, then let's try the butterfly hug. Butterfly hug is a type of bilateral stimulation, and a common way to do it is we cross our arm in front of our chest and then tap our shoulder or chest left, right, and you want to do it in a very slow way. I tell myself to keep tapping, just do left, right, left, right, and close my eyes. And what you notice when you tell yourself to keep this rhythm, do not miss any tap, is that your body starts to relax and it starts missing taps. Once it starts missing taps, one tap, two tap, and eventually your nervous system feels so calm and you just fall asleep. This is actually called a paradoxical intention. It's a very interesting technique. It works similar to the pink elephant paradox, but the reversed. So instead of telling yourself, do not worry, you tell yourself to keep tapping until your brain just cannot keep up with it and just let go. That gives your brain something to do. And bilateral stimulation is naturally soothing because as infant, when we're in our mom's womb, our mom walk left and right. Similarly, when you see an infant in a rocking chair, it's also that similar motion. So that motion itself is naturally soothing, and your brain tell your hands to do the tapping in a fixed rhythm, give your brain something to do, so it does not need to think about something else. Another thing that works really well is visualizing a safe, calm space in your mind. A lot of us know from the first-hand experience, when you go on vacation, you go to an ocean, you go to remote island villages, your nervous system immediately feel relaxed. You have no trouble sleeping at all. Why is that? Because you're surrounded by a calming environment. However, most of us live in a city. We don't have the luxury to just unplug and go into the woods. But what we can do is using our imagination. Simple ways to do it, you close your eyes to you visualize the safe, calm place. It can be the state park you visited last year that's very calming to you. I like to visualize my grandma's house when I was a child. The smell of it, the taste of it, what I can see in that environment. These memories are usually associated with a relaxing, safe environment. So that immediately signals our body and nervous system that I am at a safe place. It is safe for me to fall asleep and let go of control of worry. The last technique is my favorite. It comes from the school of therapy called acceptance and commitment therapy, or ACT. When we have worry thoughts, most of us either believe it or just try so hard to fight our way out of it. That make us more caught up in a thought. What ACT does is it offers a third option, that is just noticing it. Here's the difference. Last week there was a night I just felt so tense and having so much energy in my body and I couldn't relax at all. I started to get a little bit nervous because if I keep getting that excited, I won't be able to relax and fall asleep. I noticed myself talking to myself, hey, you need to calm down, you're too excited, you need to go to bed. And that just made me more nervous. And then I remembered my ACT technique. So this is what I did. I tell myself I'm having the feeling of the entire body being tense and full of energy. I'm having the thoughts of worrying about that I won't get enough sleep. Once I identify that, I visualize an image where I lay on a meadow, watching the blue sky with clouds floating around. And every time I identify a feeling, I mentally put that sentence on the clouds and release it into the sky. I repeat the process. When I notice a thought, I say quietly to myself, I am having the thought of, and then I release it into the sky. In this imagination, the clouds are the thoughts, the feelings, and the sky is you. The sky is not going to change no matter it's sunny or it's rainy, how many clouds there are. The sky stays the same. It's broad, it's wide, it can contain a lot of things. And that's how we want our mind to be. This is a way to keep your mind busy. At the same time, it prevents you from getting into the storyline. Once I did that, slowly I noticed it's more and more difficult for me to catch each thought and put it on the sky and watch it float away. And eventually I just drift off to sleep. It's similar to watching a terrifying scene in a horror movie happening right in front of you with normal volume versus you remove it further away to the other end of the room and that might be 20 feet distance between you and a horror movie. You're going to feel less scared. This is a similar mechanism. We're not trying to push the thought and feeling away. We just let it be. At the same time, we recognize there is me, there is the feeling, there is the thought. You become the person watching the thought instead of you are the thought itself. When you are able to create a slight shift in distance, all the worrying and the tenseness is much easier to manage. So if you were to take one thing from today, let it be this. You are never supposed to force the worry to stop. The harder you push it away, the louder it gets. That's just how our mind works. Instead, sort it. Is there anything I can act on so I can resolve the worry? If so, act on it. If you know you've done everything and it's out of your control, then try to do things that make your physical body relax. For example, the butterfly hug, slow bilateral tapping, or stretching before going to bed. Yin Yoga is a great idea that I personally really like. And once your body is relaxed, you can send your mind into a safe, calm space, using your mind to imagine a space where you feel 100% safe and you don't need to worry about anything. The last step is watch your thoughts and worry instead of believing it. Using the language, I am having the thought of, or I am having the feeling of, instead of saying, I feel, I think. Because when you say I feel, I think, you and your thought become together. And that just makes us more worried. So we want to separate the two of them. One caveat is none of these techniques is going to make the worry disappear instantly. No matter what technique you're using, you have to practice it consistently. Where your mind learns to practice it, it's easier for the mind to set in the rhythm of releasing the worry thoughts and knowing that it's okay to worry so that you don't get overwhelmed by it. Mental skill is just like physical skill. You have to study it, practice it, review it, and repeat the process. The more you do, the easier it will be. And next time when you toss and turn, remember, you can do butterfly hug, stretch your body, wish the thoughts as if they're a cloud in the sky. And let me know in the comment, do you notice any shift when you are watching the thought, like clouds in the sky, instead of identifying with the thought? If you're new to my channel, this is one of the free course of 30 days of coming home to yourself, when we learn to reparent ourselves and belong to ourselves deeply, no matter where you go in the world. Please subscribe to my channel so you don't miss any of the courses or guided practice. I'll see you in the next one.